Hey friends, Benjamin here from Lean Strong Fitness and Wellness. Today I want to tackle the challenging question of how do I get back on track once I fall off track from my fitness goals. Now, you might have heard this before, you've probably even said it yourself before, and it always implies that everything's fell apart and you're no longer making progress for your goals. How do we get back onto that track for success? So today I've got 3 strategies to help you do so, but first I want to address the track to your fitness goals is not a bullet train. It's not a straight shot going a million miles an hour or however fast they move that's going to take you from your point A of where you are now to your point B of where you want to go. And it's not like there's no stops along the way. The track, so to speak, when it comes to your fitness goals, isn't a bullet train. It's a lot more like a bus ride through a Central American country. And when Katya and I took a trip to Costa Rica last November, we took one of those bus rides. And you've got a detour because the road's washed out, and you've got to stop for cattle because there's cattle on this highway, and there's bumps and rocks and all sorts of stuff, and you're going anywhere from 20 kilometers an hour to 80 kilometers an hour. Now, I realize if you have a plane to catch, that's probably not the best approach to get to where you want to go. And I realize that when we feel like we're on track for our goals, we always want to feel that positive momentum and look it back and see how much ground we've covered. So we're getting closer and closer to that horizon. But the reality is there is no track for your goals. Or at best, the track for your goals is that bus trip through a Central American country with the bumps and cattle and washed out roads and all that stuff. So if you're feeling like you're off track for your goals, the first question I want to pose for you is, well, what was the track that you expected? And it's not in a judgmental or demeaning way. It's, did you expect it to be a straight shot and there was going to be no obstacles? If you've been dealing with that back pain for a decade like I have, like, it's not pain or no pain. It's a gradient scale that goes from incapacitated and in bed like I was to like 99.9% most of the time. And I think when it comes to the track for our fitness goals, a lot of the places where we feel like we let ourselves down and we feel like we can't do it anymore come from the fact that our expectations at best were completely whack. So today I've got 3 tips for you on how to get back on track once you've identified what is the track and expectations. So the first one is getting off track is actually a really good thing. We've spent all this time putting in effort and time and our workouts and our food and all the habits we've built and routines we've created and fitted into our life. And when life throws you a curveball, one of the really big silver linings here is it gives you the opportunity to test your habits. And the joke I like to make is when people say, well, once this happens, then I'll be able to do that thing. Once work calmed down, then I'll be able to get in routine. Once my kids get out of school, then I'll be able to set a summer routine. Like, if we lock you in a cage and only feed you what we feed you, you're going to get results no matter what because all of the variables are controlled. But that's just not life. And learning how to tackle curveballs on a weekend or a social event or a tragedy in the family, they're not necessarily like good things to happen, but they do give you really great opportunities to test your habits and see, okay, where did things start to break down? Where can I improve? Where did things fall apart? What was my first go-to when things got challenging? Like, for instance, for me, when I'm super stressed, my go-to is eating like sugary gummy foods, like Haribo gummy bears. Ooh, 10 out of 10. And it's something where I find I'm stressed, I'm just snacking on that more. And if things get crazy, I'm like, shit, I just gotta have that thing. And that can be really valuable information. Yes, you don't want to be eating a pound of gummy bears 24/7, it's not going to work. But if you can view this challenge and reframe it as, hey, this is an opportunity for me to test my habits and see where are the weak points, that's really, really valuable. Which brings me to point number 2, testing those weak points. So if you can figure out, hey, I've got my water in check, I've got my sleep in check, I've got my workouts in check, and you've got all these habits you build, when things get crazy, not everything is going to fall apart. There's probably some things you're going to naturally do. You might not give yourself the credit for it because as humans we tend to see, like if we saw a board with 100 opportunities and 99 of them are checked and one of them had a big red X on it, we're all going to be like, what went wrong there? But we also got 99 check marks. So when you start to see where your habits started to fall apart, you'll see what are the ones that need the most work. Maybe you're naturally really active in regular life, but you have a hard time drinking enough water. Or maybe you typically get enough protein in a day, but your workouts are the first things to slip. That lets you know a really valuable thing, which is where do I need to spend my energy moving forwards? Because you can't do everything at once. If you do one thing at a time, you'll be far more successful. And point number 3 here is it gives you the opportunity to improve. Back to my sarcastic but true point about if you lock us in a cage and only feed us restricted amounts of food, we're going to get results. Or if we're forced to go to rehab every day and someone's going to pick us up and take us there and there's no way that we can say no, our knee's going to get better. But if you can start to see where are those places where things start to break down, it really gives you that opportunity to be, hey, here's where I can improve. Like I know I'm someone who, I love my sleep. My sleep routine is generally pretty good, but workouts are one of the first things to go for me. Nutrition is kind of like a close second. So one of the most important things I do in my day is make my workouts as non-negotiable as possible. I know I'm going to drink lots of water. I've got a water bottle beside me 24/7 and it does not leave my side. I know I'm going to get enough protein because I've been doing this for long enough, it's second nature. But I know that I'm going to skip that workout to do that extra work thing or handle that client call or do that other thing. So it lets me know this is the area that I need to improve. So I hope that gives you some insight when it comes to getting on track for your fitness goals or back on track for your fitness goals. But the most important piece here is, what were those expectations? Did we think that our knee was going to get 10% better every single day until it stopped being pain-free and it was never going to hurt again? And I say that with love and compassion because I felt the same way when I hurt my back. It would be 3 steps forward, 3 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But it was really, really slow, but ultimately it made progress. But one of the really key indications of success isn't just did you get off track. That's not a failure. It's how fast did you get back on track? Because there was probably a point where things fell apart and it took you 6 months before you got back into routine. And now it's more like, oh, well, things fell apart for a couple days. Now I'm back into routine. You don't have to be doing things perfectly all the time, but if you can shorten that window from having a potential failure to getting back to where you want to be, that's a really, really good sign. Because when it comes to your health and fitness goals, you're really only one action away from getting back on track, if you even want to keep using that term, and that is do your thing. Do a workout, drink a glass of water, have some protein and vegetables, go to bed on time. All it takes is that one step and you're right back on that track of where you want to be. Talk to you soon.